Well, Black and White Network, we are 6 months away from the 2024 election. And in my lifetime, I do believe this is the most important election of our lifetime. The Biden administration has been a disaster. Joe Biden is an authoritarian. He is trying to go after his main political opponent, President Donald Trump. But the persecutions seem to be backfiring, and that is great news. It is very, very good news. Donald Trump is actually leading in the polls. Joe Biden is extremely unpopular. And Trump was in the blue state of New Jersey yesterday. And 100,000 people showed up for Trump. Meanwhile, Beijing Biden was actually in Seattle, a super blue city, and he was met with protesters at the far left, not a fan of Joe Biden because of what's going on in Gaza. Well, anyway, back to the political persecutions of Donald Trump. We all see it's not working. These trials are not going to be happening in 2024. And the classified documents case, man, that thing is new. It's done. I believe the Fannie Willis stuff, done. Now, the only trial that's going on right now is the Stormy Daniels hush money trial, which seems to be falling apart. I mean, yet and still, guys, they have not proven that Donald Trump did anything wrong. They haven't done it. And the Stormy Daniels testimony, man, I heard that was pretty brutal for the prosecution. You know what? I believe that Americans really do know exactly what's going on. Even CNN now, guys, they are realizing that the trials of Donald Trump is backfiring. Democrats were banking on Donald Trump being convicted of a crime. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. The only one that's going on right now is the Stormy Daniels thing. And you know what, guys? I got to be honest. Trump may actually beat that. In a blue state, in a blue city like New York, he may beat that. I mean, the Democrat plan is not working, and I'm loving it, guys. So we need to react to this CNN clip where they're actually going to admit here in the video that the persecutions of Donald Trump, they're not working. They're backfiring. Let's get into it, guys. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, become a channel member. Member live stream every single Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you're watching on Rumble, click the join button to get access to the same thing. So here we go. Right here. Let's go ahead and play this right here. You can see NYC prosecutors are politically motivated against Trump. They are. So let's go ahead and react to this, guys. Let's play it.
But first, here's my take. When President Biden made clear he was going to run for re-election, I had a sense of what his election strategy was and thought it was an intelligent path to victory. After the chaos of COVID and Trump, Joe Biden would stand for normalcy and a rising tide of good economic news. Donald Trump would divide Republicans, with significant chunks of the party wishing that someone like Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis would be their nominee. Meanwhile, Trump would unite and motivate Democrats, allowing President Biden to focus on the votes of independents and swing states who threw the Electoral College to Trump in 2016 and to Biden in 2020. I have to admit, none of this is playing out as I thought it would. Trump is now leading in almost all the swing states, but behind those numbers lie even more troubling details. As someone worried about the prospects of a second Trump term, I think it's best to be honest about reality. I understand that polls are not always accurate, but in general, they have tended to underestimate Donald Trump's support, not overestimate it. I doubt that there are many shy Biden voters in the country.
He's right about that. He is absolutely right about this. The secret Trump voters. So if you see Trump leading the polls right now, chances are he's actually leading by even more. So if they say Trump is up by 2, he's probably up by 4. And we know that the polls have been brutal for Joe Biden. So this could actually possibly be a landslide victory in November.
The economy has been in a robust recovery for more than 2 years now, with unemployment hitting a 54-year low in 2023 and increasing only slightly since then.
Okay, let me stop right there again. We keep hearing about the unemployment thing. Guess what? The government created their own jobs. So really, the private sector has been struggling. So these numbers, man, are deceptive here. So keep that in mind, man. The government created their own jobs, but the private sector is struggling right now.
But Biden is getting little credit for it. The shift here is stark. On the question of who voters trust more to deal with the economy, Trump has a 22-point lead over Biden.
Wow, that is massive right there. This could really be one of the main reasons why Trump could win in a landslide in November. A massive 22-point lead on the economy.
According to an NBC poll from January, this marks a 15-point bump for Trump compared to the same poll in 2020. Perhaps this is because inflation is a far more pervasive problem than unemployment, affecting all Americans every day. Perhaps it's because people's views on the economy now are largely derived from their broader attitudes towards the candidates. But whatever the reasons, it's a stunning reversal in the midst of a relentless stream of good economic news. On cultural issues, Biden and Democrats benefit from the opposition to the Republican Party's position on abortion. But on the other great cultural issue, immigration, Biden is 35 points behind Trump as to who would handle it better.
That's massive too, guys. So like he said, the only thing that Biden is winning on is abortion. That's pretty much it. All of the other issues, it is Donald Trump in a landslide, guys. A 35-point lead for Trump on immigration. I don't know what the other 22% for Biden is actually thinking. I mean, the border's wide open. Everybody knows it. Even CNN even knows it.
And I do wonder whether abortion will be as large an issue in a presidential race, given that reversing Roe v. Wade threw the issue to state governments and legislatures and not the federal government.
Whoa, he just told the truth right there. Because the votes want you to believe that abortion is banned across the country. No, it is a state issue.
Perhaps the most worrying new trend for the Democrats is that far from being the more unified party, they are now bitterly divided over the war in Gaza. Bernie Sanders has said the eruption of pro-Palestinian protests could be Biden's Vietnam, and even invoked the specter of Lyndon Johnson choosing not to run for re-election in 1968 because of the opposition to that war. The analogy is far-fetched. America then was itself sending hundreds of thousands of troops to Vietnam, with more being recruited from college campuses every week. But there's no denying that the party seems more openly divided than it has been in decades. Only 33% of Americans said they approved of Biden's handling of the Israel-Hamas war, which is now opposed both by people who think he is too soft and people who think he is too hard on Israel. Meanwhile, Republicans seem to be uniting behind Trump. Whatever opposition he faced in the primaries has largely melted away. And the trials against him keep him in the spotlight, infuriate his base, who sees him as a martyr, and even may serve to make him the object of some sympathy among people in general who believe that his prosecutors are politically motivated. This happens to be true, in my opinion. I doubt the New York indictment would have been brought against a defendant whose name was not Donald Trump.
Wow. You just heard that right there. He just said, if the defendant's name was not Trump, no charges would have been brought. Yeah, this is political persecution and it's backfiring. You know what's funny, guys? That trial, they said that Trump was actually trying to cover up to actually commit another crime. What was that crime? They haven't named it. Alvin Bragg still hasn't named the crime that Trump was actually trying to commit. And so far in the trial, nobody said that Trump was actually was even in the know about any hush money being paid to Stormy Daniels. Anyway.
A majority of Americans are skeptical that Trump will be able to get a fair trial, according to a CNN poll. And I haven't even mentioned Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Cornel West and Jill Stein, all of whom would probably take votes away from Biden.
Not probably. Not probably. Even CNN's own poll. Trump's lead expanded when you threw in third-party candidates. Trump had a 9-point lead with third-party candidates on the ballot. Yeah, this could actually get really, really ugly for Joe Biden.
Things could change. Polls do suggest that were Trump to be convicted of a felony, it could shift votes in Biden's favor. The administration may be able to pull off
I highly doubt that. We've been hearing that narrative that Trump is actually convicted, but the thing is, the more he's persecuted, the more popular he gets. Trump has never been more popular. I highly doubt someone is not going to vote for Trump like they're saying, I'm voting for Trump now, even though they know that these trials are BS. So if he actually gets convicted in this New York trial, I highly doubt people are going to run away from Trump. I really do. One thing, this is the weakest out of all the cases.
Ceasefire in Gaza and then a broader political settlement that gives Palestinians political rights and Israel diplomatic relations with Saudi Arabia. Trump could always embroil himself in some kind of scandal. But trend lines are not working in Biden's favor. He needs to do something bold and dramatic to seize the initiative on asylum policy, for example, and reverse these numbers. The one that troubles me the most is on the question of who was the more competent. Joe Biden led Donald Trump by 9 points in 2020, but Trump now leads by 16 points in January 2024. That 25-point shift could be a reflection of people's sense that the president's age is affecting his capacity to govern. And there's very little that Joe Biden can do now to change that perception.
Wow. You know what? That tells me something, guys.
Fear. I'll ask him.
Let me go back over here. This really does tell me something right here. Because according to this number right here, he said a 25% shift. Look at this here. June 2020, man, the mainstream media, they were doing everything possible to help Joe Biden. Everything possible. So they lied. Joe Biden was up 9% when it came to being competent and effective. But now, even the mainstream media is kind of out on Joe Biden. Trump now is plus 16. Plus 16, guys. Yeah, this is devastating news here, man. The Democrats don't have a playbook. They can't beat Trump on the issues. They can't. Because everything Joe Biden has done has been a disaster, and they know it. The American people know it. But that's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Black and White Network fans, let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you next time.